Hey guys, if you're just interested in how to calculate days in Make.com, just skip to the second part of the video. That being said, my name is David. Welcome to my daily updates where I build $100,000 a year business public and I go over what I'm currently doing, where I'm at, and where to go from here. How these daily updates usually go is that first I go over either questions that you guys left on my channel, or because my channel is small at this moment, I started going through comments and questions on other creators' channel. Yesterday, that was fun. Then I go through my YouTube stats, what is, the current views, subscribers of my channel, how is the trajectory, and then I either do some strategy, live work, freestyle yapping, just talking about life. What I will do today is kind of tell you how to calculate days, so difference between two dates in Make, and a bit about how Make handles dates in general, as it may be useful to you. So first of all, let's check the questions and let's see if by some chance whatsoever there's a comment on one of my videos, but there isn't. I don't think so. So what we will do instead, which is kind of my parasiting that I started doing yesterday, we will go to this great guy, Nick Saraev, and we will steal his questions, right? So I need to kind of turn on the comments in here. And love from India. Okay, no new questions actually. Maker, school, and other industries. It's very interesting that like one of the videos is 1 hour ago and the other one is 16 hours ago. I'm actually quite confused. Oh, by the way, sorry, I probably just kept my yapping face on, but this is the daily structure that I'm usually using. Now,
Hey, this is
Maker, school, and other industries. Interesting. Okay, so are you single? It's funny. Just like for the context, the guy just works all the time. But I think he actually has a girlfriend. He was talking about it. Okay. Cold email campaign video. You said you might turn it to a full-blown series. Would actually make a lot of sense, and I think a lot of people would love to see that. I know I would love to see that. There's actually something I should note down. As I'm mentioning, I had cold email accounts, then I stopped paying for the subscription. They all got deleted, and now I got new email inboxes, and like I'm kind of warming them up right for the past month or something like that, and I want to start doing cold emails again, and I really want to push the cold emails, as I think they will be very difficult to get right, but if I get them right, then the leverage is huge, right? Because, well, now I don't need to do like a lot of Loom outreach or manual tasks. I can just send out the cold emails. So that's something I'm going to do. And I may do some series out of that. It could be interesting. JC Webb says, I stopped watching at the meaning of life question, not because I felt it detracted, but because I gathered from what you said that life's meaning is what we give it during every moment. Today, tomorrow, and yesterday, as it were. I will refer to Bruce Lee, having form without form. Be like my water, my friend. Become what's needed for the moment and let go of the rest. What's left? The meaning. Cheers all. Yeah, I actually kind of agree. Yeah, maybe this will change throughout your life. Probably big purpose at some point will be family, but I actually also believe that the meaning of the life is kind of what you make it out to be.
Hey, this is me building a 3
Yeah.
Hey, this is me building a 3
I'm clumsy, as you can see, and I'm not sure how the audio actually works, if you could hear that. Do you think it's possible to reach 25K with an AI automation agency if you get your work done well and work less overall in a week to still maintain at that level? Also, I know You mentioned that the AI agency space is only 3 years to survive. After that, you're kind of screwed. Is that true? So I'm not sure what the question is. Yeah, I guess if you get your work done well, at some point, like, I feel like the same concept applies to everything in life, right? So there's building period, and then there's kind of reaping the benefits of your labor. So if you put a lot of work into anything, into be it business, be it your body, be it relationships, then for a certain period of time, you can just reap those benefits without necessarily adding more value and more work into it. But if you do that for long enough, the benefits that you're getting will start to get depleted. They will decrease. And at that point, you will need to kind of put, again, more work in to kind of boost the roots, you could say. What's your Mac model relevant? Maxim Pranko is saying, hey Nick, what's the most effective outreach method someone with zero budget can use to land their first client? Do you think it's better to create something upfront, like a sample or strategy to send with each message? Or should I focus on sending highly personalized cold emails with no-brainer offer? First of all, if you have no money whatsoever, manual outreach is really the only thing that you have, or creating content. And some of the creators in this space, like Nick was saying, say that content is very slow to produce results. And I don't necessarily agree, because, my main channel has 200 subscribers and I've gotten clients from my main channel. But I definitely think that you will see quicker results in the maybe first month with cold outreach, I suppose. But then I guess the channel will scale faster over that. And also, like, I think one of the problems that's not discussed, right, is that it's way more difficult to sell cold leads than it is to sell warm leads who know you from your content. So I think actually combining content and a cold outreach isn't a bad idea, especially to kind of provide you with a social proof from the outreach. So I would start that. Some content, some Loom outreach, and then I would just try, and I'm just talking about my kind of workflow as I'm going through it. I would try creating some fairly simple but personalized cold email, and then I would just go over my no-brainer offer in a Loom that I would send in the email. Yeah, I would offer some. Maybe I wouldn't like build out the thing before, but I would kind of show them what it could do. Maybe offer something for free, then, get them on a call, deliver the free thing, and then kind of take it from there, convert them into client. Notification on comments. Hey Nick, how do we stop AI from hallucinating responses? I sometimes find that using AI to generate proposals, contracts, it will just add stuff on its own. Yeah, that's actually an interesting topic or interesting question. And it's one of the things that, now there's a huge debate about AI agents, but a lot of the times the AI agents aren't at a level to be actually useful to businesses. They're kind of cool thing to play around with, right? But they don't add much real business value compared to more traditional automation. And one of the reasons is exactly this, that a lot of the times it will get the answers maybe 80, 90% of the times right. But for a lot of the things in business, it's important to get it right every single time. And they just can't kind of do that. So what I would do, first of all, if I open Make, let me just go into Make in here. I'm not sure if I have ChatGPT in this scenario, but if I do, create a completion prompt, right? What you can do actually is that normally, so first of all, the first thing, let's choose some GPT model. The first thing you can choose is the prompts, right? So you have like multiple levels. You have the user, which is kind of what you would be typing in the search bar in ChatGPT. Then you have assistant, which is the ChatGPT talking to. And then you have the developer/system, which is the part where you can kind of give context to the GPT and kind of tell it a bit about how it should react, what information is important, what are kind of the steps that you wanted to take. So for instance, first step would be to really define what you want that AI to do in the contract generating system, and really, even explicitly, and I have it in some of my prompts, make sure to not make up any stuff or something like that, right? That's like first level. And then another level would be that a lot of the times people just either don't even have this or they have this, and then they will just do like, okay, user, they will put here, hello, generate a proposal, and now they will send it. And they will get a result from the GPT, right? Let's run it. Let's see what the GPT says. Certainly, to tailor your proposal for you, blah, 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 blah. But actually, that's not the most ideal way if you want the AI to be accurate and do what you really want to do. So what you could do is kind of first show the AI what output do you expect. So instead, you could write user, have this question, but then you would add assistant row and you would actually write what the AI should write you, right? So I would be something like, sure, here is your proposal. Would you like to buy 10 bananas for $5? Reply yes if you are interested, right? And you could write something like this, and then maybe add one more example. So user would ask, can you generate a proposal? And now you would add another assistant and you would add the AI. And this time it would be like, hey, sure, here is your proposal. Would you like to buy 20 apples for $10? Reply yes if you're interested. And now you're giving the AI some context. So it knows kind of what answer you're expecting. And now if I just add user prompt and I'll be like, please, can you give me some proposal? Now let's try to run it. And I think it should be way closer to actually what we defined in the examples that we gave to it. So output, let's get the result. Very interesting. So actually we didn't get anything like that. And I guess one thing that I'm thinking about is that we have a kind of high temperature, so it generates very different results. And that's one of the other settings that you can kind of play around with, right? The lower the temperature, the more similar your results should be. So let's set the temperature lower and let's see what kind of proposal it will give me. Okay, so as I mentioned, it still doesn't have the kind of system role, right? Which is the one of the roles that is important. So let's add the system role just for having it all done. I'll be like, you are a fruit market proposal generator. A user asks you to give them a proposal. You choose one of the fruits, and you propose to the user how many pieces and for how much money you can sell to them. Right? And hopefully it will work this time. And as you can see, if you do everything as I told you, you give it some system prompt, you give it some example answers, you play with the temperature, you will get more consistent answers, and you can kind of stop it to make up stuff. So yeah, that was just my 2 cents. I think it's enough for the questions right now, for the questions that I stole. And let's look at my daily statistics. So if I look at my dashboard, I will do YouTube statistics. Today it's May the 12th, and we still have 5 subscribers on the main channel. So no growth in here. And as I was mentioning, the growth on this channel hasn't been great, but at the same time, to be honest, it's mainly just for me to document my journey, also improve my vocal delivery or my speech delivery. So it's fine, but hopefully it will grow a bit more in the future. And I think today there has been no growth on the main channel either. So still 213, but that's fine. 0 and 0%. I guess I was too lucky these few days, but that's fine. And the last thing that I wanted to do, right, is to show you kind of how to work with calculating the days. And this is for my content generator scenario, but I just want to show you the general concept. Let me just unlink this and let me show you what this gets, right? So this is a data set from Epify. And what I will get here is publish date, and a bunch of other information, obviously, as you can see. But what I'm interested in, what I'm trying to say is that I'm interested in the date. And for whatever reason, the date format for the first video is not a format that Make can kind of crunch. I will not again get into why for now. Maybe in some other videos there are some workarounds to solve that, but that's not the scope of this video. What I want to show you is related to the other bundles where we actually get dates that work in Make. But if you want to work with dates in Make, there are 2 main functions that you would use to kind of set up the date to, be in a format as you want it to be, right? First one is format date. And I actually really like this function and I use it often. And I use it a lot of the times when I, for instance, need to log this date into Google Sheet or some database, and I want it in a specified format. As you can see, this is the format that I prefer: year, month, day. What you need to know about this function, and you can see it in here, is that it returns you the date in the specified format that you wanted, but it will be in a form of text. So actually, even though it may look like numbers, it will be numbers if you define it as I did. It will be like 2025/05/06. But Make doesn't treat it as numbers anymore. It treats it as a text string. So you can't do further operations on it in Make. So for that, there's a second function that's called parse date. And what this function does is that it will get the date and it can set the date in the completely same format as you want it. But inside of Make, it will treat it as a date format, which means that you can work with the date further. You can subtract the dates to get the number of dates in between, etc. So that's what we're going to do. We don't need to add the format, but I will, just so we can see. Right, and so let me just unlink this again, and let me just run this. So I'm trying, the error that I'm getting is that when I disconnect these two bundles, of course I can't reference the previous bundle when I disconnected it, right? So I'll just keep it and let's see what we get. In the first bundle, we get the error because of the completely wrong format. That's what I mentioned. But in here, actually, we get kinda the dates, which are in check for some reason, which, sorry for that, but it is what it is. And what I wanted to show you is now how to count the number of dates, right? And what you would do is just kind of subtract them. Subtract the later date minus the first date, which is quite simple, right? That's understandable. But if you do this, you will get these numbers. Which is, these dates, let's say the first one was April 28th, and today is May 12th. So there's around 14 days, I think, exactly. But you're getting this number, right? Doesn't make much sense. And why you're getting this number is because the make gives you the response. And now don't take it for granted, either in seconds or milliseconds. I will troubleshoot with you live and I'll tell you the exact answer. So what you will need to do now is take this whole value and put it in parentheses, and preferably in the parentheses that make can understand, right? So let's copy this. And now we want to divide it. First, I'm pretty sure it's actually in milliseconds. So first we need to divide it by 1000, right? That's the kind of first step. We need to use the operator inside of make again. I will just copy this. So first we need to divide it by 1000. We get from milliseconds to seconds. Now we need to divide by 60. We get from seconds to minutes. Now we need to divide by 60. We get from seconds to hours. And now we need to divide by 24. And now we should get the number of days. It probably won't be the whole day. We'll see. And for some reason now, we don't get anything. So let me just check. Let me just troubleshoot, right? This worked though, didn't it? Can I see kinda? So what I'm trying to get now is what is the format, but this is number. So let's try if I can subtract something from it, for instance. Because I should be able to be honest. It's weird. I don't know why it's not kinda letting me do that. But if I do that, it seems to work. So what do I have wrong in this? This will give us number. Now we should divide it by 1000. And I suppose what I'm missing are the parentheses, right? It doesn't make sense really mathematically without the parentheses, I suppose. That seems like a reasonable solution, but now I kind of need to get the number of parentheses right. So one more. Let me get this one after this. For some reason I can't paste it. It's annoying. After 60. After 60. And after 24. Let's try running it now. And as you can see, if you actually are exact and you use the parentheses correctly, you will get the number of days, right? And now, last thing I guess that you could do is just use the round function. So you would get the whole integer. So you would get the full dates. And now you can see that the first 2 dates in the first bundle, their distance between them is 15 days. In the second case, it's 7 days. So yeah, guys, I will paste this in the comment so you don't need to go through this whole troubleshooting on your own. But, I won't cut this out because I just want to show you how building automations is sometimes. Sometimes you need to try things out. Sometimes you need to troubleshoot. Sometimes you will have a problem. You will try to solve the problem for an hour. Then you find out that you had everything correctly and you just didn't have the API key pasted in correctly. Also happened to me many times before. So that's just the life of running automation agency. If you have any questions, if you need any help with make scenarios, let me know down in the comment. And that's everything from me today, and enjoy.